So good morning and happy Tuesday or good afternoon because some of us are East Coast timers. Welcome to everybody. I appreciate everybody who joined us for. My name is Elizabeth Probst. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator here at St. Jude for EHE. So ending the HIV epidemic. And to start us off, I'm going to do kind of a brief introduction of our presenter, introducing Ashley N. Browning. With the credentials MRC CNP. So Ashley is a native of Dayton, Ohio, and joins us as a community crusader, self-care influencer, and sexual health educator. She is an entrepreneur and starting her own nonprofit organization, So Loved, in 2013, focusing on outreach initiatives within Dayton community for physical, emotional, and spiritual empowerment, moving into the start of her self-care journey in 2018. Her slogan, Self Care Ain't Selfish, and led her into the most recent endeavor, She's Selfish, as she continues to empower through self care coaching and sexual health education. Also, cool and interesting fact, she was recently inducted as one of the 40 under 40 for in Kentucky State University and Dayton Business Journal. So give her kudos for that. That's a big accomplishment. So she is currently an adjunct professor at Wright State University in Women and Gender Studies and Sexuality. Her educational background includes a BA in criminal justice from Kentucky State University and a master's in rehabilitation counseling from University of Kentucky and certification in chemical dependency from Union College, with her most recent completion of a graduate certificate in nonprofit administration from Wright State University. When asked what continues to motivate Ashley to serve her community, she notes the legacy of her grandfather, Harry C. Browning. So additionally, please join me as we welcome Ashley as our technical assistance trainer for today's training on preventing burnout through self-care. And I will turn it over to you, Ashley. And just a quick FYI or a note for our technical assistance training. If let's go ahead and if you don't already have your camera off, turn your cameras off to reduce that bandwidth so that way we can give Ashley all the room she needs for her presentation. And I will turn it over to her. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for the opportunity. So I am going to talk about preventing burnout through self-care. This will be an interactive presentation, so if you all have any questions, make sure that you unmute yourself. You can ask if you are in the chat box. Elizabeth will get those to me. So I want to make sure that we have like just a conversation here today, right? So some of the things we're going to discuss is understanding burnout. We're going to talk about the importance of self-care. We're going to talk about effective communication and support and resilience building. All right, so I don't have to introduce myself because Elizabeth did it. Also what all you probably want to know, like how does she know about self-care or how does she know about through HIV? So I have also worked in the HIV field currently as a HIV educator, sexual health educator, STI education with African Americans 18 to 24 at 3 local universities here where I do classes, and I also do HIV and Hep C testing. So I have experience. I've been doing this since 2018. And it is also, that's where I found my passion. And I found my passion in a form of sexual health, just education, and also self-care. And so we're going to talk about kind of why I started my journey of self-care. So I started my journey in self-care in 2018. I was in between careers. I was in an unhealthy relationship, and I just ended up being really burnt out. I found a new job. I became an entrepreneur in that process. I locked my hair. If you know anything about hair, it is a reflection of what we are and who we are. I ended that relationship and I began to live. And at that point, I decided to challenge myself to vibrate on a higher frequency in every area of my life. So on that journey of living holistically, mind, body, and soul, I wanted to create a space where others can do the same as well. So as Elizabeth said, I had a venture of Self-Care Ain't Selfish where I had 2 co-owners, and we birthed this platform where we wanted to promote wholeness, awareness, and education around self-care. And then also with She's Selfish, I am able to host brave spaces where we are able to be authentic and transparent, and I also do coaching one-on-one and group with around self-care and sexual health. So that is a little bit about me and how I got started. Some of the areas of focus that I focus on within my business is self-love, self-care, meditation and mindfulness, mental health, sexual health, and womb wellness. So understanding burnout and its impact. So we're going to talk about that today, and then we're going to get into some self-care as well. So tell me, somebody, what do you think burnout is? Somebody, anybody.
Hey, this is Tarsha. I think that burnout is when you you want to do something, but you've lost the drive and motivation to do it, and you're just lost and unable to do the things that you know how to do.
Yep. Thank you, Tasha, for sharing. Completely. So I was in I've been in the human service field probably since 29, I mean 2009. I'm sure my age, I don't know what the year is. But so I've been in the human service field. I was in a position where I had clients always had direct access to me. It was in a transitional facility. So it was at the point that it was always, like I said, someone had access to me. So I got to the point that I was really burnt out. So that's kind of why I switched into the teaching aspect of learning, because it was, by office hours and all of that good stuff. So I definitely have been burnt out. I definitely understand what burnout is. Okay, so this is the definition of burnout. So burnout is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion, often caused by prolonged stress and being overworked. Okay, so we're going to talk about recognizing burnout and why it's important to recognize it. So there are some things that we can do to making sure that burnout does not occur. And so we're going to start with that prevention. So being able to identify burnout in its early stages. So making sure that you recognize the signs and symptoms, so you can implement self-care strategies. So like as Sasha said, that is when you are like losing interest or you feel like you can't do it anymore. When you have that mental exhaustion, when you get the first signs of it, or if it's continued probably within the first 21 days, you want to make sure that you prevent burnout. So you want to get it in its early stages, and you want to begin to implement some self-care strategies. You want to make sure you make some adjustments in your advocacy work to avoid that burnout. So those adjustments can be just creating a schedule, making sure that you are adhering to your schedule. That is also making sure that you are setting those boundaries. Those are some good places to make that you can make adjustments in your work. All right, some early intervention. So some early intervention can be making sure that you seek the support that you may need. So that may be through self-care practices. They may be reaching out to your peers or any professionals. So once you figure out that it could be possibly burnout that you're going through, you want to catch it early so it doesn't escalate to any severe levels. So you want to also, I want you all to know that when you talk about burnout, it's not just a burnout that is individual based, but it's also collective as well. We'll talk about that more. So, in your individual well being is definitely important. So, we all know that burnout is different for everybody. So, you want to recognize what is your signs of burnout. You want to make sure that you protect your own health, your own physical health, your emotional health, and your own mental health. So, you want to make sure that you are able to identify these things and prioritize your health and seek the appropriate care for it. So the community part as well. So like I said, burnout is not just limited to individuals. It can affect the community in totality. It can be where the community members experience burnout. It can be a ripple effect, and it can impact the community's collective well-being. So you want to address that burnout within the community to make sure that you have a healthy and supportive environment for all its members, and not just the individual, but they looked at it as a community holistic aspect. So you want to make sure that you are effective in your advocacy, right? So burnout can hinder that. So if you're burnout, you can have a lack of energy, you can have a lack of passion, you can have a lack of effectiveness. And so you want to make sure that you are effective. So if you are at a point that you are burnt out, you want to make sure that you seek the necessary help, or use the necessary tools that you may have to make sure that your advocacy efforts may remain impactful, and making sure that you're healthy and whole so you can advocate for others. Support is a big thing. So recognizing that seeking and receiving the necessary support. So like I said, it can be your peers, it can be your mentors, it can be mental health professions, it can be the community itself. So making sure that you have a support system. It can be friends, it can be family, whatever that you look at as your support. So we're going to talk about resilience a little bit later on as well, but resilience is the ability to bounce back, making sure that you can bounce back from any setbacks, any challenges, so you can make sure that you continue the work that you're doing. So we're going to talk about, like I said, resilience a little bit later on as well. So being sustainable. So preventing burnout, make sure that you're sustainable and you're able to do the work that you do in the community. So burnout can lead to individuals leaving the community. I left the community or the field that I was in because I was extremely burnt out. It got to the point that I didn't want to, I wasn't effective in my work. I was irritable. I was agitated easily. So I knew I could no longer sustain in that setting. So I went to a different setting. So you want to be sustainable. I didn't have the tools that I needed at the time to maintain in the work that I was doing, but I'm grateful that I was able to continue in a different capacity. So quality of life, we know that our quality of life is making sure that we are together, mind, body, and soul. Our overall well-being suffers, and so we're not able to have the quality of life that we would need to, not only for ourselves, but for the community and for those that we serve as well within the community. So making sure that you recognize burnout is vital to maintaining a high quality of life for yourself and others. So having that support in that community, so we know that we are stronger together than we are apart. So making sure that you have that community strength, that you are able to advocate for each other, that you are able to have a significant and lasting impact as well. So tell me, do you know what are some signs and symptoms of burnout, or what have you experienced if you experienced burnout, or if you know someone who experienced burnout? What are some of the signs and symptoms that you saw or have been privy to know about?
I'd say your immune system. My immune system would drop, and then I would get sick more frequently than what I would in the past.
Yeah. Thank you, Elizabeth. That is good.
I agree.
Anybody?
That happens to me quite a lot too.
Kate, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Impatience with coworkers and clients. Yes, completely. I remember I had a particular job that as soon as I got to the job, I was just had attitude. I was okay before, but had an attitude instantly. Also overeating. I seen overeating and over drinking. You definitely would notice those things more. You went from drinking a glass of wine a week to now drinking a glass of wine every day. So yeah, those are definitely signs and symptoms.
And losing interest. There was another one in the chat, losing interest in things you used to enjoy.
Yep. So definitely losing interest. You can get to the point where you are just now coming home and you just want to plop on the couch and just watch TV. When before you would go out and hang out with friends or families and all that. So yeah, definitely those are definitely good things. Thank you guys for sharing. So some signs and symptoms of recognizing burnout, and it is being reducing work performance. We're gonna talk about that. So yes, so some things that's recognizing burnout involves being aware in various signs. So like that physical exhaustion, like Elizabeth said, you can actually be eternally sick from being burnt out. So you can get that being constantly tired, experiencing headaches, or having trouble sleeping. That being emotionally drained, just feeling detached, just feeling that you're not connected to anything or anyone. Your reduced performance, a decline in your work or advocacy performance. So just you before you was go getter, you doing X, Y, and Z, you had a plan, and now you just kind of doing a bare minimum to get by, or you're not doing anything at all, right? So your increased irritability, stuff becoming easily frustrated or impatient. So I definitely have experienced all of these. So so what do you think the impact on individual, what do you think the burnout impact is on the individuals and community?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Yes, the question is, with burnout, what do you think the impact is for individuals and the community?
This is Tarsha again. The quality of your work, and
Yeah.
it affects the individual because you're not meeting the timelines. You're not, able to get the stuff done in time, and then you find yourself not being able to communicate with them effectively because of the timeline. So it throws the whole thing off for everyone.
Yep, definitely. Thank you so much.
Would also throw out there that sometimes it kind of people feed off your emotions, right? So like if you're feeling down, then most times, depending on how long everybody is in one room, it'll trickle and reflect to everybody. Also, there were a couple of hits in the chat as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
see them, but they go so fast. I
You're
can't
fine.
read
I
them.
got you. I got you. So the first one was I feel if community members, guests, clients you engage with can sense your disengagement, and that pushes them away. And then another had spoken and said increased attitudes affects the community with reduced care and hurt.
Mhm.
Additionally, a decreased performance ability to listen and take in the information.
Yep, definitely. Those are all good. Thank you all for sharing.
And I had one more comment. It's not a true reflection of who you are. And unfortunately, it doesn't give that person a chance to meet, your true authentic self, because you are experiencing the burnout. So you could lose someone and never be able to restore that relationship.
Yeah, it definitely affects that rapport that you have with somebody. We know that you can sense when somebody don't want to be bothered with you. You can sense when somebody got an attitude, and so now they don't want to deal with you. It could just be one bad day. It can be just a moment. But now people are like, well, I don't want to go to Ashley no more because the last time I went to her, she had an attitude. So, keeping that on the front foot when you are in a community, when you are serving, when you are working with clients, when you're working with patients, making sure that you are able to say, I need a moment because I'm experiencing some things that I'm not used to experiencing, because you don't want to be a disservice to those that you serve. All right, some other impacts that have to do with burnout. So, reduce effectiveness, which we talked about. So, burnout can be lead to decreased productivity and effectiveness in your work. Health consequences, it can lead to negative physical and mental health, and it can mess up the team dynamics. So you can make the teamwork may not, or the collaboration, it may not be effective because now everybody, you may have an attitude, so now everybody looking at you sideways. So that whole team dynamic can be affected as well with the impact of burnout. Okay, so tell me, why do you think self-care is important when it comes to reducing burnout?
If you don't take care of yourself, you definitely can't help other people. I know we've all heard you can't pour from an empty cup,
Mm-hmm.
but also an empty cup goes dry. And then you're
Definitely.
overwhelmed by everything. And then you feel like you can't do anything.
Yep. And we hear that we've also heard, thank you so much, Krista. We also heard that you want to make sure that the glass is the glass half full or half empty, right? So I always say you want your glass to always be full. And then your glass is full, and what's in the glass is for you. Anything that is pours out of the glass, that's for other people. So you want to make sure that your glass is always full. It was another one, Elizabeth, it went away too quick. Can you tell me what that one was?
Yes. Yes. So that one, so Will, he had mentioned I'm an emotional battery and I need regular recharging. I love that. And I love what
Yes,
Chris said as
definitely.
well.
So I'm an introvert by nature. So I am one of those people. I can turn it on when I am in my element, when I'm speaking and all of that. I can turn it on then. But if I'm around people for a little bit, it's time for me to go and figure out like what I need to do to recharge. So that's a good point. All right, so we're going to talk about self-care is definitely essential to preventing burnout and maintaining your overall well-being. So, yeah, if you are not good, you cannot be good to anybody else. You have to always put yourself first. And that's why I use that motto of self-care ain't selfish. Because if you don't take care of yourself, who else will, right? So by making sure that your self-care is a priority, members of the community and you can enhance the overall well-being. Yeah, the tub is amazing. I said, I wish I had a tub like that. Um, so making sure that you are effective, that you will lead fulfilling lives, and that you are not burnt out in the process of living a fulfilling life or helping others. So significance of self-care is that sustainability, that resilience, and health and well-being. Like I said, sustainability is making sure that you're able to advocate um, for a long time, basically, and not just do it for a short term time because you are now burnt out. Being able to push through those setbacks and making sure that you're able to prioritize that your physical, mental, and emotional health. So making sure you go to the doctor, making sure that you get some exercise in, making sure you see a therapist if that's your thing, making sure that you have an outlet some type of way mentally, emotional support. It's okay to cry. It's okay to get it out. So I always use this quote where I say self-care is not a luxury, but it's a necessity. So a lot of times people think that like self-care is one is something that costs a lot, something that is expensive, something that is only afforded to certain populations. But I want to debunk those myths and let you know that it is not nothing that is expensive. It's not a luxury. It is something that is definitely a necessity. Like someone said earlier, if you are not any good to yourself, you cannot be any good to others. So I want to say that, we all know that self-care is a buzzword right now, but I would like to lend it towards the word of like self-care being soul care, right? So making sure that you're taking care of yourself eternally so it can manifest into who you are every day. So there are really 8 dimensions of self-care, but we're going to talk about the 4 dimensions of self-care when it pertains to burnout. So some of the self-care dimensions is your physical, emotional, mental, and social. And so all of these aspects, they work together. So some of that physical self-care. So physical self-care is all about taking care of your body, which can be crucial to maintaining your energy levels and your overall health. So that includes regular exercise. So this is the one I struggle in. I'm waving my hand on this one. I've been trying to get to the gym every Monday for the well, how many months are we in? 9 months. I did recently start walking again. I have not been as consistent as I would like, but I am making a more of an effort to at least get in 2 miles a day. So making sure that you have that regular exercise because it helps with your immune system to prevent that burnout. It helps with your mood and it promotes overall well-being. Making sure that you eat right, making sure that you have a balanced diet, making sure that you eat more fruits and vegetables, making sure that because when you eat right, you have more energy. Your immune system is better and functioning at its best, and so it optimizes your overall health. adequate sleep, ensuring that you get enough sleep, because that promotes healing and rejuvenation. That allows your body and your mind just to rest, be in a state of rest, right? And it helps with your hormones as well. You are supposed to get at least 5 to 7 hours of sleep each day. And then we're going to talk about, so how many of you all give yourself 1 point if you all have exercised this morning or you plan to exercise today at some point for at least 30 minutes a day? Give yourself 1 point if you drank a glass of water at least today already. Give yourself 1 point if you ate a balanced breakfast at least today, or you plan to have a nice, healthy lunch. So give yourself 1 point for that. Give yourself 1 point if you did have at least 5 to 7 hours of sleep. So if you all got all 5 points, that means you are doing great in your self-care, or starting with your physical self-care. If you have anything below a 3, that means that you can be more intentional about your physical self-care and making sure that you start to incorporate anything. So physical self-care doesn't have to be anything like strenuous, anything like that. It has been proven that you can do at least 30 minutes a day out of something. So you can do something at your desk, whether that's walking in place, whether that is doing some squats while you're in the office, or if you're in a community, parking a longer distance so you can walk a little bit more. So you can use different techniques to get that exercise in at least 30 minutes a day. Jump roping is really good. I just did a 30-day jump rope challenge with a group of about 75 women. So that is a way to get together. Now, your knees, I'm telling you, it's different on your knees, but it is definitely a good place to start. And it was definitely fun for everybody. And making sure, like I said, you get that sleep. You can use most people have smart watches. You can use your watch to see how many hours you slept within a day. You can even use it to track your sleep, how well you sleep. And so you can do all of those different things for making sure that you get an adequate sleep. All right, so we're going to get into that emotional self-care. So that emotional self-care involves recognizing and addressing your emotions. So that can making sure that you do not have emotional exhaustion or compassion fatigue. So some outlets for your emotional self-care. So I use this quote when I said it's okay not to be okay, right? So what I mean by that is all of us are human, and we are not fine or okay or good every day. We do have good days and we have not so good days, right? So being able to own when you're not okay, and not, instead of just replying with, oh, I'm okay, or I'm fine, or I'm good. Because once you start saying those things, you're actually lying to yourself if you're not in that space. So you want to make sure that you are together emotionally. So being able to honor where you are, being able to have those creative outlets. So whether you have creative outlets like art, music, or writing, it could be expressive outlet. I know I have some friends that do spoken word. I have friends that do comedy. That is their form of creative outlet. You can also do any type of writing, whether that's creative writing, whether that's journal, making sure you have those supportive networks. So spending time with your friends, and anybody that you can talk to about your challenges, to make sure that they can provide emotional support and reduce those feelings of isolation. Um, Also professional help. So if you talk to a therapist or a counselor, that's always great. And also getting into the habit of practicing gratitude. So a lot of times we're in the hustle or bustle, and sometimes we forget to acknowledge and appreciate the positive aspects of life. So being able to say, I'm grateful today that I got a good hair day. I'm grateful today that I got up this morning and I was able to clean my house. And I'm grateful today because I was able to sleep in. So being able to acknowledge the small things that are really big things that you can acknowledge practicing your gratitude. So I definitely suggest everybody to reflect over your day and at least list at least 3 things before going to bed that you're grateful for. And it could be something that I'm grateful that I was able to eat lunch away from my desk today. That can be something that how you show gratitude. So that is your homework for the next 7 days, is to make sure that you practice gratitude. Write down at least 3 things that you're grateful for at the end of your day or at the beginning of your day. So your mental self-care. So we know your mental self-care, it focuses on your mind, body, managing your stress, and promoting well-being. Yes. So Elizabeth, I have a gratitude journal that if I can email to you, that you can get out to people. It's just a sheet, and you all can write down every day what you're grateful for, if you have any affirmations or anything like that. All right, some examples of mental self-care. So journaling. So I got to a point where journaling became a chore for me. So my therapist suggested that I start doing video journaling. So with that, I just really just take my phone and I talk into my video and I journal that way. So it's an expressive out way to be able to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling today. And so if you can journal either way, you can video journal or you can actually write. It is a release and it gives you clarity when you are able to actually verbalize or when you are able to actually write down your thoughts and feelings. So there are some mindfulness practices that you can do, such as staying calm and focused, and you reduce stress. So whether that is meditation, whether that is yoga, whether that is just silence and being quiet for a little bit and sitting still, those are practices that you can do. For me, I do mine. I had a 20-minute commute. So I usually do that in the morning, no radio, no noise, no nothing. That is my way to do that. And I also in the mornings, now I'm able to do some some meditation or yoga. I use YouTube. So that is a great platform. I call it YouTube University. So that is a great platform that you can use to just start your day. You can do something of 5 minutes to 15 minutes, whatever works in your schedule. And continue learning. So engaging in something that stimulates your mind, like reading or trying new hobbies, is always a great way to make sure that your mental self-care is sharp. Social self-care. And a lot of times, social self-care involves your nurturing your relationships that you have, whether that be community, whether that be friends, whether that be family, and making sure that you maintain healthy social connections. So I have a really busy schedule. So I had to schedule my social self-care, but it's important to me. So I made sure that I scheduled it. So I schedule in my family as well. So my mom and my dad, I get them together the first Friday of each month. Then I have 2 sets of nieces and nephews. I have little nieces is what I call them, nieces and nephews. They get to second Friday of the month. My big nieces and nephews, they get the third, and then my friends get the fourth Friday. So that is how I know what I'm going to do. They get Fridays and I schedule them in. It's on a reoccurring schedule so I can make sure that I maintain those healthy social connections. Making sure that you spend quality time with your loved ones, making sure that when you are with your friends and family that you are present. And that you are in the moment and being intentional about spending time with them. That means like without your phones or, making sure that you are focused and spending quality time. You can also join a support group. It can be similar to this group, or it can be a group that show similar interests that you have. It can be a church group. It can be a professional organization. It can be any organization that you feel like it's a brave space. Instead of a safe space, I say a brave space. So making sure that you can provide the group, make sure it provides you a sense of understanding and belongingness. Making sure that you set boundaries. I always say that no is a complete sentence. Once you say no, you don't have to explain yourself. Just say no and go on about your day. So, no protects you and your well-being, and it helps you balance your commitments. You don't want to overextend yourself or overpromise. So some curated self-care routines. So how many people here have a morning routine? You could raise your hand or say it in the chat, or you can take yourself out for meet, whatever. Okay, I see Elizabeth with a thumbs up. I see Will. So
I am
anybody,
definitely a creature of habit.
and Tarshay. So do anybody want to say what their morning routine is?
I can go ahead. So for me, especially Monday through Friday, with the, working schedule, every day I get up at 4:30. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday I go for a run. So it's usually 4 miles. Come home, shower, coffee, and then get my mind and self ready for the day.
Thank you for sharing. Elizabeth, I wish I was a morning person. I am not a morning person.
It
Will
has
said,
not always been this way.
"Oh, I so wish when you said 4:30, I almost was like, what?" Like, somebody else said 4:30 a.m. too. Will
Yes,
said his, but I
4:30
couldn't
in the
see
morning.
his. Will said cigarette and something else. I couldn't see all of it, Elizabeth, if you see it.
Yes, so Will said coffee and cigarette, morning meditation, daily reflections.
Yep, that is
And
definitely good.
yes, and that was the only one. And then of course, like you said, someone had said 4:30 a.m. Yes,
Yeah.
4:30 a.m. I'm a marathon runner, so and training does not stop.
Yes. So are you coming up? Are you doing a run soon?
Yes, we have one in December for St. Jude
Okay.
Marathon weekend.
Yeah, so that's really good. So I have recently just set a morning routine because, like I said, I'm trying to be more intentional. So in the morning, I get up, I do my 5 to 15 minutes of meditation, and I also go walking in the morning. And then after that, I do some type of reflection or journaling or whatever. And I try to do some laundry in the morning just because, so I don't have to worry about it later on. I see some
We
more
do,
coming through.
yes, we do have a couple more hits in the chat. So, Sudi Cushman, morning meditation, reading daily devotional, and morning prayer line. And then Will said, not the healthiest, but he's consistent. Consistency is always important.
Yes, definitely.
Then Dr. Pichon, she came in and said, not a morning person at all. Prayer and read horoscope, then check email, which I need to do need to stop doing. Then we have Jenna. She had mentioned 6 a.m. morning and caffeine, slow breathing, and grounding myself in positive thoughts and to start my day. And
Yeah.
that was the last one.
Yeah, so you already have homework to do your daily gratitude, at least writing 3 things down. So now you have to do something, one thing in the morning. So instead of waking up in the morning and checking social media, do something that will jumpstart your day, whether that is a devotional, whether that is reading a chapter of your favorite book or a couple pages, whether that is that walking, that yoga, exercise, whatever. So that is also your homework for the next 7 days. I'm gonna have Elizabeth check on everybody to make sure that you're doing. But I guarantee you that you start your day with a routine. It can set a positive tone to your day, and it can help you also with preventing that burnout as well. Breathing exercises it's also a good way to eliminate your stress. So making sure that you can use YouTube for this as well. It's a quick way to calm down your nervous system and regain focus. So I use this suggestion for people. A lot of times we take our phone into the bathrooms when we go to the bathroom. Instead of taking your phone, use that time to go into the bathroom and then do some deep breathing exercises while you're in there. Because that's sometimes that's our escape anyway, is to go to the bathroom. So don't take your phone in there. Just go in there and do some deep breathing, and it'll be a way that you can, calm that nervous system down. You can do count to 4, You can exhale, you can hold, you can do all of that stuff to do your deep breathing, and make sure you're really, breathing from that diaphragm area, instead of just the shallow breathing that we do typically. Time management tips. So making sure that you have effective time management skills. Being able to prioritize tasks, set boundaries, and delegate when necessary. So how many people have like a time management tool in place, whether that be your schedule, whether that be a project management tool, or like how do you kind of navigate your day?
My calendar is the holy grail.
Calendar. So, Crystal, do you use like your phone calendar or you use an actual planner? Like, what type of calendar do you use?
I have two calendars. I have my work Outlook calendar, and then I have my Google calendar with my social things on it.
Yeah. Yeah, a calendar. I always tell people if it's not on my calendar, it's I'm not gonna do it. So definitely your calendar is a good way to manage things. Because I do so many different things, I also use project management tools. So Trello, I don't know if anybody has heard of that. It is a free tool that you can do to write tasks in, and it has you can put deadlines in and all of that good stuff. Or I use Basecamp if it's a more intensive project. So those are some strategies or some things that also can help. Time management, I struggle with it. That's probably the thing that I struggle with the most. But when I am working in my schedule, working on my tools, I am definitely more effective, and it also helps me with preventing that burnout. Will, what did you Elizabeth? What did Will say?
We did have a couple more hits in the chat. So we did have someone else that said that their Outlook calendar too. And then Will said, I thrive on routine. If I get too far outside of my plan schedule, he gets stressed or stress results. There we go. And then I would also say, me personally, I do a lot of like reminders in my phone, or like everybody else has said, those calendars. My calendar keeps me pretty regulated.
I even use my timer, my clock, my alarm on my phone to remind me to eat. Sometimes we forget to eat. So and I'm trying to do intermittent fasting too. So I have my schedule in my phone set to when it's time for me to eat. So I know, okay, I need to stop. I need to eat. So making sure that you have those routines is very important to make sure that you eliminate that burnout. So when you are in a
We did
community,
Hey, Ashley, we did have one more hit
okay.
that came through. Kat I put everything I need to do in my calendar. I write everything in a specific journal designed only for that job, whether it's school or work, and then that she's thinking she can't live without organization.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Will had noted Apple reminders and notes are lifesavers. Yes, yes, they are.
Definitely. So making sure that since you are in community, making sure that you want to make sure that you have um self-care that are practices that are unique and customized to your challenges that you face. So some of the challenges that you may face is that high emotional engagement, demanding schedules, compassion fatigue. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So when you talk about high emotional engagement, so when you are working with others, when you're working with, if you're a provider or if you're working delivering any type of care, you often you form deep connections or bonds with people. Even though we are trained to, there are some people that you get attached to, there are some things that you just like your heart pulls at. So it can be emotionally intensive, right? So this emotional engagement is a strength, but it also can lead to emotional exhaustion if it's not managed properly. Demanding schedules. So when you might have a demanding schedule due to your client or patient commitments, making sure that you find time to do self-care throughout your day or while you're navigating. And then making sure that with that compassion fatigue, it goes back to that emotional engagement where you may be always providing support for someone. So this occurs when you have that emotional toll, and it can affect how you feel, and how you are providing that care for others. So like I said, we're going to talk about resilience. I said we're going to talk about that later. So what do you think resilience is without looking at the definition? Hold on. What do you think resilience is?
Being
Ability
a
to bounce back.
Yep. The ability to bounce back, definitely good. So there is the resilience is the ability to adapt and bounce back from adversity, stress, or setbacks. Like Will said, it's the ability to recover. So you want to make sure that this is crucial for your passion and what you do and the work that you do in the community. So being able to bounce back and being able to know that you have a lasting impact on the community. It empowers individuals in the community, not only you, but it empowers individuals in the community as well to persevere and push through. So resilience is definitely needed. So strengthening personal resilience is vital for sustaining your dedication to the cause. So remember that. Um, some of the skills, we're going to talk about some skills needed to bounce back from setbacks. Some of those skills are adaptive problem solving, self-reflection, and you learning from your setbacks. I'm sorry. So some problem solving things is you want to make sure that you have the ability to find creative solutions for challenges. So when you are, for instance, when you're faced with a funding shortfall for a community event or in a community in general, you want to get creative by organizing vital fundraisers. You want to engage with local businesses and support, or you want to seek those grant opportunities. So being able to adapt and have creative problem solving solutions is really great, and it helps you with preventing burnout. But don't take it on by yourself. You use a team for this kind of stuff. So you can all, because you can all bounce off ideas and agree on which one works the best. So that's self-reflection. So you want to continually assess yourself and adapt strategies, right? So if you realize that you're in the community and something was not well received, you want to be able to reflect and say, okay, well, what did I do this time that I didn't do the last time? Or what can I do differently the next time? And you want to also, once again, once you get that self-reflection down, you want to bring somebody in who has a fresh look, to say, okay, this is what you can do. This is what we can do moving forward. Because sometimes when we're tunnel vision, we have tunnel vision and we only look at things a certain way. But it's always good to have that new set of eyes to look at things. So when you learn from your setbacks, after you do that self-reflection, now you want to look at those opportunities of growth, and you want to be able to say, how can I grow from this, and what was my learning experience? So you want to make sure that you are able to work through those as well, and you want to make sure that you have that resilience, so you can be able to get back into it and do what you need to do, so you can keep going in your challenge and your charge. And once you get through those setbacks, like I said, you or your those that you work with or your consumers, they will also be able to learn from their setbacks as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about effective communication, being in a group and being in the community, because when you effectively communicate, it prevents it prevents burnout. So you want to make sure you have open dialogue. So you want to be able to talk in the community that you are in and be able to let members express their thoughts and feelings. And you want to make sure that you know that recognizing burnout, it starts with communication. Because if you can communicate how you feel, and you will be able to have that freedom to be able to express. And that is a way that effective communication can prevent that burnout, being able to have that voice. So that open communication. So being open and transparent parent and communication is powerful. It encourages community members to share not only their thoughts and feelings, but it also challenges people to be more open. So also you want to prevent that isolation. So you don't want to make people feel like they're an island. So you all want to be, in community is what I like to say. Be in community and making sure that community members feel connected, and being able to feel that they are in a brave space and be able to feel a sense of belongingness and mutual support. You want to also make sure you always have those open channels. So if there is anything that you need to, if there a process or anything that helps you with that burnout, you want to make sure that you recognize and address that burnout and promptly. So to make sure that your emotional well-being is, you know, something that you tackle head on. So we know that communication plays a pivotal role in fostering a resilient community. Any questions for me before I go on to this next section? All right, no questions.
I was going to say, I don't see any questions in the
Yep.
chat box.
Okay, so why is support vital? So why do you think support is vital to preventing burnout, self-care, and all of that good stuff?
It shows that you have a village, whether that support looks like the people that are surrounding you, or it's the support that people are showing up in spaces like this.
Definitely. Spaces like this is super important because you are with like-minded people. You are able to express how you feel and being able to communicate. And some people don't always have that outlet. So like I said, these spaces like this are very important. Support is the foundation of a thriving community. If you have that support, you're able to be more standing. You have more empathy. You have more assistance. You have a network. You have a support of um, you have a support system, and that is very important. And it can help you through challenging times. You have people that you can lean on. You have people that you can talk to. You can have people that you can cry with. Whatever the case may be, you are able to have that support you need to make sure that you are walking in your self-care and making sure that you are preventing burnout, so you can advocate for those that you serve. So how do you create a supportive environment for open sharing? So some safe sharing is making sure that you encourage everyone that they are safe and that they know that the space is safe, and that basically what is shared in this space stays in this space. Making sure that you share your experiences, you share your challenges, you share your concerns. So people, because more people relate to story, right? So I always like to say, like, you are a brand. We hear about brands and about like business brands, but you are a personal brand, and people want to know the brand story. Who are you? What are you? Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this work? All of that kind of stuff. So making sure that you create that safe sharing space, making sure that you are non-judgmental, making sure that you don't have your biases in the forefront, making sure that you show that empathy and compassion as well. I think Will said something, but I missed it, Elizabeth.
Yes, he did. He said a rope with many strands is stronger than a string.
Yeah, definitely. And that is definitely what community is, and that's what support is. A supportive environment blisters the mental and and emotional well-being. So you want to make sure that you can have that supportive environment, because it helps you a little bit more. It's kind of like a buffer with your mental and emotional well-being, because if you know you have support, you can say, yeah, girl, I'm not really feeling that well today. And somebody can be like, well, do this, do that. So you'll have that someone that you can bounce ideas off of. So, what does effective communication and support bring to the EH community? So, collaboration with agencies, sharing best practices, unified responses, collective learning, and mental well-being. So, this is ways that you can be in support and advocacy and communication. to make sure that you are being effective in your work. So making sure that you are collaborating with other people, making sure that you are talking to your peers about what are best practices, or your supervisor, or whoever that you can be able to share those best practices with. Making sure that you have prompt communication, making sure that you are aware of what's going on in the community, collective learning, making sure that you're able to go through workshops and trainings, making sure that you have a mental well-being environment. Take that mental health day. Being able to be in environments that support and boost your mental health. In your opinion, what's the role of self-care and advocacy? Anybody? So I'll say the question again. What's the role of self-care and advocacy?
I think it would be, making it known, making it aware that the things you are going through can be changed, and how important it is to really value self-care and not to make it optional, but that
Mhm.
it's mandatory, for your overall health and well-being.
Yes. And Will said, if I'm not, thank you. Will said, if I'm not okay, I'm not able to help others. So definitely.
Hey, it's Mary. I kind of think of it as the instruction that you get when you're traveling, especially with a kid. It's like, if we experience any problems in the plane, put your own mask on first so that you are
Mhm.
able to help somebody else.
Yep, definitely. That's always a good example. Yep. Don't try to help somebody else, and then yeah, and you need to help yourself first. Yep. I
We
seen
did
another
have
one.
Yeah,
Yep,
we did have one more in the chat. So Sierra had said to me, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
definitely. So, knowing what you need to bring and being able to verbalize and share that is a form of advocacy, and it also enforces boundaries. I can see the other part of it.
We did have one additional one that popped in as well. So Andrea mentioned knowing what you need and being able to verbalize and share that is a form of advocacy, and it's also reinforces boundaries and sets expectations.
Definitely. So, self care isn't separate from advocacy. It is basically one of the most important components. And also, because it is an important component, it enhances your effectiveness as well. So when you have self-care practices, it enhances your ability to be able to advocate at the highest capacity, right? And it also allows you to recharge and replenish. When you recharge and replenish, your energy and you are unmatched, and you have passion your passion will continue to be maintained. So you want to make sure that you are putting self-care in the form of advocacy, not only for yourself but for others, making sure that you because of self-care you enhance that effectiveness, and you're able to advocate, you're able to be your best, and you're able to rest, recharge, and you want to make sure that you continue to have that passion. If you got that passion, you can keep going. If you got that passion and that energy, keep going. Uh-oh. So we're gonna do time for self-check. So we're gonna take a moment to reflect on your well-being and stress levels. Excuse me. This is a brief self-success assessment that will help you to engage your current state and identify areas where self-care is needed. You can write this down, you can write it in the chat, it's all up to you. How familiar are you with the concept of burnout within the community? very familiar, somewhat familiar, or not familiar?
Do you want everybody to type their responses in the chat?
Yeah, they can either write it down or type it in the chat. Or if you want to come off mic and say what your experience is. And like I said, mine was very familiar because, like I said, I was the one that was burnt out. Thank you all. I see a lot of very familiars there. Which aspect of self-care do you find the most challenging to prioritize? Physical, mental, emotional, or social? Mental, emotional, physical. Physical. You get a mental, yep. Physical, physical, and mental. Have you personally experienced burnout or high levels of stress while working within a community? Yes or no? I see most yes. Yep. How often do you engage in self-care activities to prevent burnout? Frequently, occasionally, rarely, or never? Occasionally, frequently, rarely, occasionally, occasionally. Which of the following self-care activities do you find most effective in managing stress? Mindfulness and meditation, exercise and physical activity, seeking support, taking breaks and leisure time. Taking breaks and leisure time, taking breaks and leisure time, seeking support and leisure time, breaks and leisure time, and exercise. All right, so with this is a tool that you can use to see areas that you are really great in, right? So if you said take breaks and leisure time, that means use your time when you feel like you are stressed. Don't continue to keep working. Take your mental health day, take your a vacation day, or take an actual vacation when you feel like that you need a break. If you feel like exercise is your outlet, make sure that you get that time in to exercise. Make that sure that you prioritize it. So I'm in Ohio, so it's getting colder now and it's getting darker early. So I know for me that when it gets dark outside or when it starts to get cold, I don't leave my house. So now I have to figure out ways to be more proactive in like exercise and physical activity. So yesterday I literally just text my trainer and said, "Hey, are you okay with doing virtual with me in the winter?" So you got to figure out like what works for you or what you know that's going to be beneficial for you. That benefits if you got that mindfulness and that meditation, making sure that you set time out. You can do that at work, you can do that at home, you can do that in a car. Like that is one of the easiest things that you can do. And seeking support. So if you know that you are most effective when you are talking to your peers or your supervisor or your community, or you are with family and friends, making sure that you reach out, or your therapist, making sure that you have the tools that you need to manage that stress and make sure that you are effective in managing stress. And also, um, I seen most people did occasionally. I have a couple that was rarely. For those that I rarely get to try to get to that occasionally. So for me, I try to do a self-care day, which is Wednesdays typically for me. So basically Wednesdays, after work or before work, I work from home purposely on that day, and then after or before work, I do what I want to do. So that can be anything from eating ice cream to going to a movie. So that is like what I do for self-care, right? And that is my day to set aside for me to do exactly what I want to do and not what I have to do. And then making sure that if you had those personal experiences where burnout, making sure it was a lot of yeses, and I know that it is natural and normal for the work that you do in the community, making sure that you have the tools that can help you, and the community support that can help you going forward without to reduce that stress or whatever, and to make sure that you don't be completely burned out like I was. And then making sure that you know which one is if that's your challenge piece, making sure you work on the ones that don't bring you challenge. So I've seen some people that said physical was their challenge, so maybe you tap into with your social a little bit more. Some people said that mental was that, so maybe you tap into your physical a little more. So figure out like you want to go on your strengths, right? So you want to make sure you always focus on your strengths. And then once you focus on your strengths, those things that were once challenging typically are not as challenging because you are able to, now that you know that mental is that is your challenging area. And so once you get to doing working out and you're tapping into your physical aspect, now your mental is more clear. So you want to make sure you focus in that area. Most people was familiar, very familiar, and somewhat familiar. This is just the kind of work that we do in the community. And I think I answered all of those. So does anybody have any questions for me? No questions? I answered all of them.
I don't see anything in the chat. Wait, there we go. There is one. So we have Sierra. She had mentioned, how do you manage and when you start to lose your passion for the work?
So my suggestion what is go back to your original why. Why did you begin to do the work that you do? So we know that systematic things may happen. We know that funding can be an issue within the work that we do. We know that there are inequalities in the work that we do. But what is your why? Why do you do what you do? And then once you figure out your why, figure out where do you fit into your why. And then go from there. Figure out why do you fit in, how do you fit into your why? How are you most purposeful? And focus on that component of, so like for me, I am really great at community outreach, right? So every job I had, I feel like I created another position for myself because community outreach was almost my thing. So I always was able to um, get that community and support around the clients that I served at the time. So figure out and then kind of work into what your purpose and your passion is. And that's what I would say for that. Thank you, Sierra. Figure out your why.
We have another one in the chat. So how do you recognize when you move past resilience to overdoing it? And that came from Terry Ingram.
Okay, so for you want to make sure you have a balance in everything, Terry. So if you feeling like that you had a setback and now you've bounced back from the setback and then now you're just working and working and working, you want to make sure that you have that balance um to be able to maneuver. Okay, I had a setback, now I'm back, but what is my self-care looking like so I don't overdo it, right? Or so I can have that balance, so I can set those boundaries, so I can set no. So what does that look like for you? Does that look like having a set schedule? Does that look like saying no? Does that looking like being able to know what your capacity is? So what does that look like for you? So you have to figure out what is the root cause for overdoing something. Um, when we are in excess, there's usually a reason why. Are you trying to overcompensate in a certain area, or you just feel like because you were burnt out before and you didn't do your best before, now you got to overcompensate. So figure out like how do you get to your happy medium? How do you figure out what that balance is for you? And that could be doing more self-care for you. And I think you'll find an answer in loving on you more and being able to figure out your why, like I told Sierra. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Sierra, for asking questions. I appreciate it. I have um I have some free things for you all. This is my contact information if you all want to contact me, my phone, email, and my website. I believe this presentation will be available for you all. I will send it to Elizabeth. Um, and also this is recorded as well. So I have some free things for you all. On my website, if you go to sheselfish.com/links, you have access to some free self-care things that you can use. Some music, who doesn't love music? So we have some free playlists on there. We have a meditation, affirmation, and a motivational playlist on there. Also, we have a free self-care calendar. It is a monthly calendar, so it changes each month. So like today, the 26th, it may tell you to detox from social media. Also, we have some free coloring pages on there. Like, believe it or not, coloring is therapeutic. It is something that allows you to relax and it allows you to like focus in the moment. So we have some of those also on my website. Yes, Sierra, I got a coloring book. And if you subscribe to my website, you would get a free self-care workbook. All I just need from you is your email, and then you get a free self-care workbook. It'll walk you through the 8 components of self-care and give you tips and tools on what you can do for your self-care. And this is how you can stay connected with me. I'm on all platforms with as She's Selfish LLC. So if you are on social media, make sure you follow me. I think that is it, Elizabeth, unless we don't, if we have any more questions. Thank you, Sierra.
I do not see any other questions in the chat.
Thank you,
Someone try
Elizabeth.
to come on mute.
Thank you, Tarshay. Am I saying it right, Tarshay?
It's Tarsha.
Tarsha.
No problem.
You know, we always put a spin on somebody's name, so that's why I had to make
It's
sure.
it's okay. I like it.
Well, I will take this opportunity to say thank you so much, Ashley, for taking the time to do this with us and be our technical assistance trainer for today. Thank you, everybody who had joined us and participated. I loved the active
Thank you,
participation and
Andrea.
loved hearing everything. Um, But with that being said, I will do kind of one quick announcement to everybody. Everybody amongst our CTP EHE community should have received a quarterly calendar invitation for our CTP meetings. So the next one will be October 18th. We will send an official location date or location for that when we do have that available. So just stay tuned for that. Other than that, I appreciate everybody and hoping to see you all soon. And thank you so much again, Ashley. And I'm going to go
Thank
ahead
you.
and stop the recording.